pull out this, kind of the Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is a hell of a
Incredible.
player.
No idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands.
I had a moment at the end of the game, and I was in my bag. I was in my moment. Yeah.
Be grateful that my team was in that position.
I know you might be surprised to see me covering this topic, and it's not because we have a lack of topics at all whatsoever. It's because this year, I have to admit, women's college basketball was pretty freaking awesome. Unfortunately, the end was a little bit controversial, but I was engaged enough, and I feel like a couple of my subscribers were engaged enough for us to make a video on this topic. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Some of the green slips you guys have been sending me is crazy. Like $1,250 off of a $250 slip, or $1,500 off of a $150 power play. We've been making bank off of our basketball picks, bro. March Madness was a huge success, and believe me, we're about to ramp it up for the NBA playoffs. All you have to do is download Prize Picks, use my promo code microphone, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100 instantly. After that, just follow me on Instagram. I post all of my picks onto my Instagram story for free, and we can start making money off of these picks together. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna admit, I did not plan on watching the women's college basketball tournament this year. I think there's a large majority of us that may have felt the same way. But once I started seeing the highlights of Caitlin Clark essentially mirroring Steph Curry's exact dribble package and jump shots in the middle of these tournaments, I just couldn't look away. And to be honest, I've been waiting for this moment for quite some time. Yes, it's very easy to sit back and say,
"No, the WNBA sucks. I'm never gonna watch the WNBA. Women's basketball isn't as entertaining as men's basketball."
and while that might be true, I have been waiting for it to get exciting. And I do perceive women's basketball to be in the same era that the NBA was in, probably in the 50s and 60s. They just need that one player to come in and change everything for them. And eventually, the NBA's investment in the WNBA will eventually be worth it. Currently, the NBA is subsidizing the WNBA, and that results in a lot of problems. I mean, we made videos on it before, how Kelsey Plum, who actually happens to be married to Darren Waller, formerly of the Las Vegas Raiders, now of the New York Giants, didn't invite Josh McDaniels to their wedding, but that's a microphone topic. She once went on to a podcast and said that she thought it was messed up that she did not receive any revenue from her jersey sale.
You're not asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking you to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
You know what I'm
got
saying?
Got it. So that's a huge misconception.
That's a huge misconception.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because every video is like, oh, this person gets paid this person gets paid that, right?
So I want to be really clear about that. Like, I don't think I should get paid the same as LeBron.
Right.
But the percentage of revenue, like, for example, they sell my jersey in Mandalay Bay, I don't get a dime.
You don't get any money from jersey sales?
That's crazy.
In the NBA, they have percentages of revenue shared for the players, right? So jersey sales, obviously their TV contracts. You see these every year, these contracts get bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
Massive.
But that's because their CBA, it negotiates where if the owners are making certain types of money, they get that as well.
Got it.
In the WNBA, that's not the case.
To which we made a video on about 4 months ago where I said that there weren't any jersey sales. And on top of that, the WNBA is being subsidized by the NBA. They're losing $10 million a year. So the NBA needs to get as much of that money as they can so they could keep the league running. Otherwise, you might see a similar situation with NFL Europe and the NFL, which is what inevitably ended up happening. They canceled NFL Europe, and now they periodically do games in Europe with current NFL teams. Now, why am I saying all this? Well, I think we were all shocked at how exciting the college basketball tournament was. You saw Caitlin Clark ball out and do her thing, and she was even channeling her inner John Cena in some of those games. Most famously doing a "you can't see me" taunt in the middle of one of her games while she was really feeling herself, which to be honest, I don't think is anything atypical. I mean, I might be a little biased here, but I am all for emotion. I am all for expressing emotion. I love seeing Russell Westbrook dunk the ball and then do his little like stomp and scream and just showcase how much the game really means to him. I'm a huge fan of that. I love trash talk. I've made so many videos of trash talking moments. I got very angry when the NFL decided to make taunting a penalty, which I think is just part of the game. It's what makes the game exciting. Seeing two people that don't like each other on the court duke it out and let their game speak for themselves. There's a psychological component to basketball and all of sports for that matter. So I'm all for the you can't see me in the middle of the game. Now, there's some controversy in this as well, because eventually Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes would be able to make it all the way to the finals to face off against the LSU Tigers in a national championship game. Now, in this game, Iowa was getting blown out. Towards the end, the Cinderella run seemed to officially be over. And at the end of the game, you saw Angel Reese of the LSU Tigers do something similar, kinda. Well, some people are saying it wasn't really similar. Towards the end of the game, once LSU was winning, she was doing the you can't see me taunt, but for 10 seconds, and it seemed like she was hunting for Caitlin Clark and trying to do it in her face. Look, man, a lot of people are saying this was classless, and I can understand why you could say that. It seemed like she was hunting her down and really wanted to rub it in. It seemed to me, at the very least, that this just seemed like a human that was very excited to shut down Caitlin Clark and deny her the championship. I am personally for all forms of taunting, all forms of trash talk. You could call it classless or whatever. I'm for it. I love it. I love the drama of games. So whatever she decided to do, I'm all for it. It just entertains me. At the end of the day, at the very core of this, we're watching these games to be entertained, but I could understand why people would say it's classless. At the end of the day, I don't necessarily think it's classless or anything like that.
I mean, we're all talking about women's basketball. I'm making a women's basketball video, for crying out loud.
What would follow is what's supporting my argument as to why this emotion's great. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark love each other. They show so much respect to one another. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese respect each other as competitors, even though Angel Reese won and Caitlin Clark's Cinderella run was put to an end. And it seemed like there's a lot of external factors that are ruining this. Dave Portnoy. Now here's where it gets a little insane, at least for me. For some reason, the White House thought it was a good idea to intervene in this. And Dr. Jill Biden, who happens to be our president's current wife, decided to come to some sort of resolution for this whole controversy. The resolution is one that I don't know how I feel about, because as you guys may know, usually whenever a team in a major sport wins a championship, whether that's the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, etc., they get invited to the White House. They take a nice picture with the president. Sure, there were some teams that protested Donald Trump's presidency and they didn't go visit him, which kind of like stopped the tradition in a certain sense. But that aside, tradition suggests that whenever you win a championship, you get to meet the freaking president of the United States. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, that's a crazy honor. Now, it's always been the winner. The winners have always been the team that pull up to the White House, take a nice picture. It'd be kind of weird if the loser would pull up to the White House and take a picture. But here's the thing. I don't want to get too political here, but inclusion seems to be a huge sticking point for the current people in the White House. So Dr. Jill Biden decided to come up with this resolution.
Congratulations to both teams. So I know we'll have the champions come to the White House. We always do. So we'll have LSU come. But you know what? I'm going to tell Joe, I think Iowa should come too, because they played such a good game. So, right? So winners and losers, that's sportsmanship. That's good sportsmanship.
So you might be thinking, wow, this is wonderful. Everything's resolved. We can invite the winners and losers. Everyone gets participation trophies. Everyone's happy. Yay, no one gets their feelings hurt. Well, here's the thing that's kind of interesting. This was met with a lot of backlash. First things first, let's talk about Shannon Sharp's reaction, because I think his reaction is exactly what my reaction was.
I'm not gonna go as hard as I normally would, especially at her, because I'm gonna be respectful of that. But she needs to sit down. down. The people that won, the young ladies that won, look like me, and the people that lost look like her. Now we're going to invite the runner-up. That's a part about winning the Super Bowl, the World Series, or the NBA title. We get invited to the White House. The losers don't get anything.
But I think what's important here is, how does the winner and the loser of this tournament feel? Well, the winner is pretty obvious. Angel Reese is probably not going to have any of this. She even said that this is a joke.
Same. If we were to lose, we would not be getting invited to the White House. And I remember she made a comment about both teams should be invited because it was sportsmanship. And I'm like, are you saying that because of what I did? And that stuff like that, it bothers me because you are a woman at the end of the day. And you're supposed to be standing behind us before anything. So it's hard to see things like that and not to comment back on it.
And to be honest, I don't blame her. This is an honor for the winners of the tournament. I 100% agree. So what does Caitlin Clark think about this? It must be so nice to be able to go to the White House and meet the president and the first lady and the vice president. I don't know if the vice president is usually involved. I think she is. How does she feel about all this? Well, this is what Caitlin Clark said.
I don't think runner-ups usually go to the White House. I think LSU should, enjoy that moment for them. Maybe I could go to the White House on different terms though. But I think, that's for LSU.
I'm going to say, man, I agree with Caitlin Clark. Losers of the championship game should not be invited to the White House. I think at the end of the day, Caitlin Clark did a monumental achievement, even though she didn't win a championship. Both her and Angel Reese got a lot of people that wouldn't be talking about women's college basketball, talking about women's college basketball. And I think that's awesome. I think Angel Reese did her thing. She was very true to herself, true to her personality with her trash talk. I just love trash talk. Does that make me a bad person? Does that make me a classless person? Fine, call me whatever you want. I agree with Caitlin Clark. The loser should not be invited to the White House. The champion should. It should be a part of their victory lap, and it should be the fire that pushes every team to try to compete to the best of their ability each and every year. I honestly give both of these women a 10 out of 10 for the way they handled every part of this situation. From Angel Reese's taunt, that was awesome. From Caitlin Clark's initial "you can't see me," that was also awesome. The fact that they're doing things that are getting people talking about the sport is a huge W in my book. I do think it's ridiculous that the losers get invited to the White House, and I'm glad that Caitlin Clark agrees with it. I hope we see women's basketball become more and more exciting to watch. Before this year, I didn't see a world where women's basketball could be exciting to watch. And I am so glad that I could finally see a light at the end of the tunnel, because I love basketball, and I'm so happy that there is a means of an entertaining brand of female basketball, and it seems like we're getting really close to that day. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think what Angel Reese did was classless? Do you think it was within her means? Do you think that the loser should get invited to the White House? Do you think I was
too overly political in this video and you want to unsubscribe?
I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.